Here are a variety of paint rollers. Of course, you got your paint frame and three different rollers. This roller here could be used to put a texture on your painted surface. You might use it for stone. You might use it to just lightly texture a wall so it doesn't appear too terribly flat. And of course, the other two rollers here and here are for just getting paint on your surfaces. Sponges. Sponges can be used all sorts of different ways. You can use it to actually lay paint on. You can use the texture of the sponge to put a texture on your painted surface just by getting your paint on the sponge and dabbing it on as you need. You can use this for stone, for cobblestone, concrete, and so on, and just to add a little texture as well to keep a surface from looking just plain flat. One of my favorite tools of all time here, called the Wonder Tool. Use this to open your can of paint. Don't use a screwdriver, don't use a hammer, don't use your car key. Use a proper tool. This has this right here that fits around a roller. You can use it for cleaning out a roller. It's got a sharp edge that you can use for scraping. You can use this for scraping, and then this right here to pry open a paint can. And of course, water, stir sticks, paint buckets, paint trays, roller trays, masking tape, brushes, and so on, all to get your project accomplished. We'll go into more detail into brushes and so on at my shop when we reconvene there. Here we are now in my studio, and we're going to look at some brushes here before we get to painting. Over here is my set of Fitches, and this one I've had for years. Look at how much worn down it is compared to some of these others. I've been using it for a long time. These come anywhere from 1/4 of an inch up to 2 inches. These are all made by Roscoe brand tools and equipment, supplies, paint, mostly paint stuff. These are for all the detail you may need to put into a scenic element as you're painting it. Down here, this is a good lining tool. We fill the brush with paint. Don't just dip in a little tiny bit of paint. Fill the brush with paint. Knock off enough to prevent it from dripping, and then you can put a line down. And we'll look at that after a bit. These are all various sizes for various needs as you go through. This right here is called a laying in brush. This is an 8-inch laying in brush. Here's a 5-inch laying in brush. These will hold a lot of paint. This particular laying in brush has a removable handle. It'll look like this. The handle will come out so that if you need, you can put an extension handle on it for stand-up painting. You can use roller extensions with threads. It's the same thread that you would have anywhere else on a roller handle or in an extension handle. I like to use the Sherlock system. It's a locking system. It's got indexed and pegged holes that will allow you to keep your tool straight. Again, we'll talk about your handy tool. I have a couple of them. This really is my favorite tool in the paint shop. Scraping, cleaning of rollers, cleaning, and of course using it to pry open your paint can. A mallet to close your paint can. This here is a roller cleaner. A roller will slide on there. You pump this handle, it'll spin it out. It gets rollers super clean. You can also slide a brush into it. Once you've inserted your brush into it, you can again pump the handle. It will spin everything in the brush out. Flood it with plenty of fresh water, and your brush will be very clean. This here is my pet Sammy. No, not really. It's a brush made out of lamb's wool, and it will lay down a texture. When it's wet, you can use it to lay down a ton of paint all at once, and this will hold a lot of paint when it's full. You can also lightly coat the tips of it, and you can put a texture on. And we'll take a peek at various texture techniques after we get a little further down the road.